Well, it's been about 4 months since Joe Biden had a long-form interview with anybody. But he sat down yesterday with 60 Minutes and had that interview. And he answered a number of questions. And one of those questions was, are you too old to run for president again in 2024? Joe Biden is already the oldest president ever. And you would think a person who is the oldest, who already holds the record as the oldest president, would walk away, would stick to basically his campaign promise of just getting elected to get rid of Trump and then moving out the way and letting the young people have it, you know? But it sounds like, when you listen to this interview, sounds like Joe Biden don't want to let it go. Sounds like Joe Biden wants another shot at the glory, wants to sit, in control. And it's very disturbing because there are a lot of jobs where, if you're older, it becomes an issue. Air traffic controllers, for instance. 55. 56, that's it, 56. Pilots, commercial airline pilots, 65. It's not that these people are useless. It's not as if they're unable to have faculties that make them very much contributing to society and do very important work. It's just that the type of work that they're doing, being life or death, maybe their slower reflexes won't work so well for them or the people that they're serving. So as you sit through this interview with Joe Biden meandering from point to point, sometimes not answering cohesively, you can't help but think, is this the guy? Is this the guy running the free world? I mean, the truth is, Joe Biden at 82, well, that's what he'll be if he runs again in 2024. But if he was to run and get reelected and last out his term, he'd end up being 86. And don't get me wrong, 86, that's a great number. And don't get me wrong, Joe Biden looks like he's in pretty good health. But looks can be deceiving. And it's kind of beside the point. You can be in good health. You can be an older person. But time comes for us all, Johnson. Forgetting words, forgetting places, forgetting dates, forgetting what you meant to do, what you were going to do, forgetting how to finish a sentence. All these things happen when you get older. It's just life. If you're fortunate enough to get older, you're fortunate enough to deal with this garbage. So Joe Biden sitting there in this interview, denying reality. It's almost as if he thought we could not hear him talk, that we weren't sitting here courtside at some of his worst interviews, that we didn't see him fall up the steps or fall off the bike or get tongue-tied or call his mother his sister. Come on, Johnson. We saw this all happen. It's not a thing about being an ageist. It's about being a realist. I think the Democrats need to bite the bullet and look at what they have and say, hey, who else is out there? Yeah, that's what they need to do. They need to take a long look internally and say who else is left. And the reason why they don't want to look is because they know what they're looking at. They're looking at Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris, and they're going, no! This makes sense. Now it's time to hold your American Idol tryouts, your Star Search, your Making the Band, and get some new blood. Because if not, Johnson, it's going to be too late. Joe Biden up here making decisions. And if you want to make the argument that an almost 90-year-old person should be in charge of the government, basically what you're saying is presidents don't run the country. Other people do. Yeah, because you can't tell me a 90-year-old person or 86-year-old person or 82-year-old person is the same person they were at 60. You can't tell me that. Joe Biden is not who Joe Biden was. And don't get me wrong, Joe Biden was never good. Not to me. It's the crime bill Joe, lying Joe, plagiarizing Joe, phony Joe. That's how I see him. But we're here. we're here. And if you want to scare everyone with the DeSantis, oh, DeSantis is the devil and Trump is the devil. First of all, there can only be one devil. But I see the Democrats already doing their best to demonize the next guy. Okay, so which devil is it? But if these people are that dangerous, that they're fascist, they're going to take us back to the time of Hitler, well, maybe it'd be a good idea to have somebody running against him who's not old as Methuselah. It's horrible, man. In the interview where he's saying he's not too old to be president, the guy's making up terms and phrases and slogans. It's embarrassing is what it is. President of the United States. Democrats, you need to look out your window and see if there's other options. And I do believe there are other options. You have options, but what you do not have is time. I'm going to be following Joe Biden very closely. Like a hawk, I will be watching Joe Biden and reporting on it. So if you're interested in the content of exposing Joe Biden and exposing the Democratic Party, you're on the right channel. I'm Real Tim Black. Subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on the next one.